You ever lose control of your rage and turn into a giant green monster? It's scary time. In the Marvel Universe, there are few things that scare people more than the Incredible Hulk, an unstoppable rage monster who can fight off most threats. The people of the Marvelverse are lucky that the Hulk is on their side. As scary as the Hulk is, some of the foes he goes up against are just as frightening. I'm Andrew Boyd, and today on Top 10 Nerd, we're looking at the top 10 scariest Hulk villains you need to know. Just to clarify, this is a ranking of the villains based on who I find the scariest, not who is the best or most powerful. So the ranking will be pretty subjective. With that out of the way, let's Hulk out and get to the list. Number 10, Speed Freak. Speed Freak is a criminal and an addict who killed an inventor and stole his battlesuit in order to become a super-powered addict criminal. His intimidating battlesuit helps him to fly as well as create holographic images and features adamantium cutting blades as well as projectile barbs, which have helped him to go toe-to-toe with the Hulk, even managing to slice open the Hulk's stomach at one point. What makes Speed Freak scary is his lack of humanity, working as a killer for hire in order to feed his addiction. He also shows no care for potential collateral damage, once attacking an AIDS benefit concert in order to try and take out one of his targets. Speed Freak was one of the villains killed in the Stamford incident, a fight between a group of villains and the New Warriors, which resulted in huge amounts of collateral damage and directly led to the Superhero Registration Act and the resulting Civil War. Certainly not the scariest villain on this list, but one I wouldn't want to run into in a dark alley nonetheless. Number 9. The Dogs of War. Developed by the United States military for hunting down the Jade Giant, the Dogs of War were 4 ordinary dogs that were fed gamma-infused meat that transformed them into gamma mutates. They were used to track the Hulk's scent and were trained to attack him when they found him, but being rage-fueled Hulk dogs, they attacked both the Hulk and their military handlers. Now, being attacked by a dog is a horrifying experience under the best of circumstances. But dealing with giant canines with super strength and anger issues is even worse. These paralyzing pooches had only one appearance in Incredible Hulk Volume 2, Issue 14, but they made an impact, being adapted on screen in the criminally underrated Hulk film a couple years later. Number 8. Zzzax. The first of a few energy drainers on this list, Zzzax was formed when a group of villains tried to plant a bomb at a nuclear energy plant. Rather than causing an explosion, this caused the energy in the plant's pylon to gain sentience, incinerating the villains and absorbing their intelligence. Zzzax then went on a rampage, destroying everything and everyone in its path in order to gain as much intelligence as possible. In his first appearance, Zzzax destroyed several city blocks in the course of a few minutes, killing untold numbers of people and growing 40 feet tall before being confronted by the Hulk. As if that wasn't scary enough, it has also been revealed that incinerating people and stealing their psionic energy is a physically pleasurable experience for the monster. So Zzzax isn't just killing to gain strength and power, he's also doing it because it feels good. Number 7. Piecemeal. Piecemeal was once a normal man until he was captured and killed by the Red Skull, who wanted to use his body for an evil experiment. The Red Skull's scientists replaced several of his limbs and extremities, turning him into a terrifying beast. Piecemeal eventually escaped from the Red Skull's island and made his way to the mainland with no memories of his previous life. Piecemeal is obviously a pretty scary looking dude, and his superhuman strength and ability to shoot energy blasts make him a formidable foe, but these are not the things that make him terrifying. As he has no memories of his life, Piecemeal wants to experience as much of the spectrum of human emotion as possible. He does this by triggering the emotions of people and then touching them to absorb their emotions and memories, not stopping until the victim is a worn-out husk. One of the ways he triggers people's emotions is by transforming his face to look like them, putting them into a state of shock. He wanted to absorb the Hulk's rage, but was instead impaled and thrown into Loch Ness. This was thought to be the end of the villainous monster, but when the Hulk searched the loch, he could find no body. Was Piecemeal eaten by the Loch Ness monster? Or is he still wandering the earth, draining victims? Number 6. The Quintronic Man. The Quintronic Man is an exosuit that was developed to be piloted by 5 men trained to act as one. Although originally developed for space exploration, it was instead used to battle the Hulk in Incredible Hulk number 213, even managing to beat the Hulk in that issue. While this isn't particularly scary, what puts the Quintronic Man on this list is its later appearance in Indestructible Hulk number 3. In this story, AIM is attempting to reactivate the Quintronic Man for their own nefarious purposes. In order to accomplish this, they reassemble the original 5 pilots. The only issue? 4 of them are dead. Thankfully for AIM, they are able to use electrochemical technology to ensure that the Quintronic Man still has psionic access to the dead pilot's skills and reflexes and can thus use the dead body's muscle memories to control the robot. In layman's terms, this means that the Hulk is being attacked by a robot full of corpses, which is equal parts scary and disturbing. The Quintronic Man puts up quite a struggle against the Hulk, but it meets its end when Hulk pushes it into a volcano. Number 5. Red Hulk. After the death of his daughter at the hands of the Abomination, longtime Hulk enemy Thunderbolt Ross fell into a deep depression that was only worsened by a perceived lack of purpose after the Hulk was shipped off-world in the Planet Hulk storyline. He was approached by MODOK and the Leader, who convinced him to join their evil super team, the Intelligentsia. During the events of World War Hulk, they managed to siphon energy off of the Hulk and transfer it into Ross, transforming him into the Red Hulk. Red Hulk has all of Ross's smarts as well as his legendary temper, but lacks Hulk's compassion, making him a dangerous and terrifying enemy. With the help of a life model decoy, Ross was able to hide his Red Hulk identity for some time, continuing to work for the government while still going on missions for the Intelligentsia. Number 4. Abomination. Emil Blonsky was a communist spy who was working undercover at the same military base as Bruce Banner, working to sabotage the Gamma experiments so that US forces would not become more advanced than the communists. When a distraught Bruce Banner tried to take his own life with a Gamma machine in his lab, Blonsky was there spying on the professor. When Bruce's self-harm attempt was interrupted and he was taken away, Blonsky was hit by the Gamma radiation instead. Like Banner, Blonsky had a strange genetic variation that caused the gamma rays to transform him into the Abomination. Abomination is able to retain his human intelligence and is actually stronger than the Hulk unless the Hulk reaches a state of total enragement. Unlike Banner, Abomination is thrilled with his new form and regularly goes on rampages, killing entire towns. He considers Hulk his equal, as both are disfigured and alone, but when he learned that Bruce had married his longtime sweetheart Betty Ross, he was enraged at the idea that the Hulk was happier than him. In a move of sociopathic pettiness, when Betty was hospitalized, Blonsky injected his blood into her dialysis machine, killing her with gamma poisoning. Number 3. Half-Life. In an origin not dissimilar to the Hulk's, Tony Masterson was an ordinary college professor until he was exposed to a gamma bomb. This turned Masterson into essentially a living corpse who only comes alive at night. He uses his vampiric powers to drain his victim's life force with his touch. When he touches a gamma-powered character, such as the Hulk, he drains their powers rather than their life force. In his first appearance in Incredible Hulk number 334, he tried to drain the Hulk's powers, hoping that they would give him enough life force to be able to stay alive during the day, but Hulk managed to defeat him, ripping his arms off. To the Hulk's shock, Half-Life was still able to use his arms despite them not being attached. He was later given a titanium battle suit by the Leader and very nearly destroyed the Jade Giant, but because he overused his powers in doing so, he ended up in a mummified coma. Number 2. The Wendigo. The Wendigo is a figure from indigenous folklore that was first adapted to Marvel Comics in Incredible Hulk number 162. The curse of the Wendigo is something that happens when a person engages in cannibalism in the Canadian wilderness. The curse causes the person to transform into a vicious creature who has an insatiable hunger for human flesh. In its first comics appearance, the Wendigo is a man named Paul Cartier, who goes on a hunting trip with his friends Georges Baptiste and Henri Clouzot. When they are attacked by wolves, the trio are forced to hide in a cave where Henri dies. After 4 days trapped in the cave with no supplies, Georges wakes up and finds Paul eating his friend's remains, inadvertently giving himself the Wendigo curse. Over the years, Wendigo and Hulk clashed several times before Paul's friend Georges managed to transfer the curse to himself, freeing his friend and becoming the second Wendigo. This Wendigo was eventually defeated by Alpha Flight with the help of Wolverine and Nightcrawler. In the years since, several different Wendigos have cropped up in Marvel's Canadian wilderness, each more dangerous than the last. Number 1. Brian Banner. Bruce Banner's father, Brian, is scary because he is all too real. After being abused by his own father, Brian vowed to never have children. Although an accomplished scientist, Brian struggled with alcoholism and anger issues, and when his wife became pregnant and gave birth to Bruce, he became abusive to both of them. This culminated one Christmas when his wife tried to take Bruce and leave, and Brian killed her. Brian was put in a mental institute as a result until he was released 15 years later. During a confrontation between Bruce and Brian at his mother's grave, the two got into a fight, and Bruce accidentally killed his father. Bruce repressed this memory and spent the next several years believing that his father had been killed in a robbery. As if that weren't bad enough, Bruce was haunted by the ghost of his abusive father until he confronted his father in hell during a period of death in Incredible Hulk 460. Brian is the source of most of Bruce's fears, which proved to be most unfortunate when he was resurrected in the Chaos War as a hybrid of the Devil Hulk and the Guilt Hulk, a dangerous and powerful being who fed off of his son's fear. When that failed and Brian died again, he gained the ability to possess gamma mutates using his influence to control several characters, including Jailbait, Sasquatch, the Absorbing Man, and even the Hulk himself. Even before gaining hellish powers, Brian Banner was the villain that both Bruce Banner and the Hulk were most afraid of. The fact that he now has the ability to control some of Hulk's allies and turn them against him makes him all the more frightening. Well, that's the end of this list. Any other heroes with a terrifying rogues gallery we should explore? Let us know in the comments below, and remember to like this video and Hulk smash that subscribe button for more Top 10 Nerd. You get it? Because Hulk likes to... I'll see you next time.